Hannigan?
He won't be.
Yes, Dr.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
Dr. Hannigan won't be able to make it to the meeting, and neither will Jennifer Stanley. And we're good when you're ready, Madam President.
All right, let's go ahead and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm glad we have that itty bitty flag back there in the background. I don't happen to have one up here. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. We'll go ahead and move to the approval of the agenda.
Madam President, this is Laura. I move to approve the agenda as presented with the following amendments. Additional certified and classified personnel actions for consideration, item E3. Add item E5A, special education for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, grant assurances. Add item E5B, LCP assurances for Title I, migrant, ESL, and homeless programs. Add item E5C, elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund, grant assurances.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Can I get a second?
This is Alex, a second.
Thanks, Alex. Do we need any discussion on this? I don't see any. So we will do the roll call. Is Stephanie available to do that, Steve?
Yep, here we go.
Okay.
Laura,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Janine,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Okay, great. Let's go ahead and move on to delegations, Q&A, or public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight, Stephanie?
No.
Any correspondence?
No.
Okay. Let's move to the consent agenda.
Madam President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as previously amended.
Can I get a second?
This is Janine. I'll second it.
Okay, do we need any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote.
Laura,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Janine,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Alex.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you. We will move right along to our discussion items, starting with curriculum reports, and we'll begin with summer programs.
Madam President, before you start, you might just remind people as they're jumping into the conversation that they announce who they are.
Thank you, Heath. All right. Who has the floor?
I think that would be me,
Okay,
Monica
thanks.
Diaz.
Thank you, Monica.
Starting with, we'll start with summer school. So we'll start off with our KRR summer school, and then that'll help lead us into special education summer school as well. So I will share my screen. Did I do that correctly? Do you guys see the screen? Okay. So KRR Summer School, this is just an update. It's going to look a little bit different than our typical summer school. So these are the 5 elementary schools that are participating in summer school for KRR: Gertrude Walker, Victor and Ellis, Buffalo Jones, Florence Wilson, and Abe Hubert. And we have a couple of our KRR coordinators here. Jamie Schwer from Gertrude Walker and Melanie Marcy from Victor and Alice, I believe are the two. I didn't see anybody else jump on. So they may at some point share some thoughts about summer school and what's the planning that's going on. So right now they are right in the middle of collaborating and planning for summer school sessions. It does say here virtually, but as I'll explain a little bit later on, it'll be more of a like a distance summer school, not so much focused on technology. It'll run Monday through Friday, the month of June, the 1st through the 26th. Summer school will include English language arts, STEAM, family engagement, math, and PE. Summer school, like I just said, will be less focused on technology and more on hands-on. So each 5 of the schools have packets that they will be distributing during lunch pickups. If that's approved, still the tutors will be there helping with the lunches, and will be distributing packets at this time. These packets will support weekly theme activities, which include enrichment and academic activities. Again, focusing less on technology and more on hands-on manipulatives and engagement. I'll let Jamie talk a little bit to this slide. This is the Gertrude Walker KRR flyer and an example of their theme for a week.
So
Jamie?
the flyer is, yeah, this is Jamie at Gertrude Walker. Our flyer was what we used as our advertisement, so to speak, inviting families to participate in the program. And then myself and my tutors have been collaborating, and we are going to do weekly themes, and then we've just divided each week amongst different tutors, and then they're kind of planning the weekend activities, and then everybody's coming back together to help get them prepped, prepared, organized, and ready for distribution for each Monday, and we'll do it the first 4 Mondays of June. So like we have a baking theme one week, and we have a nature theme, an animals theme, a gardening theme, and then a summer fun water thing that we will do that last week also.
I'll let Melanie talk to what KRR has shared with their themes.
Hi, I'm Melanie Marcy at Victor and Alice, and we're doing a lot of what Jamie's doing. For us, we did a Google form enrollment for the students. So we contacted the kids through our Facebook account and the teachers and stuff, and we had them fill out the Google form. We're also doing packet pickup on Monday, and you can see up there our themes for the week. And it's going to be really different. So far, we have a great turnout, so we're excited. And like Monica said, we're not doing technology because basically it's really kind of hard with that. We did the Zoom to finish up, and it was kind of hard making sure everybody could get on because internet kept dropping on us. So.
So a little bit more on how all the different coordinators are reaching out to the families. They're sending notes home. There's phone calls being made. They're taking teacher recommendation. Our migrant office has a contact list to offer to the schools. They're using Facebook, school websites, text messages, which other platforms would be Seesaw and Class Dojo. And I did add what we had for participation last year, but like I said, we don't know. They're right in the middle of recruiting families right now, so we're not certain what our participation will look like right now. So in review, due to COVID-19, summer school is going to look just a little bit different this year. It's still the goal of KRR to provide a fun, engaging summer school experience, and they're planning to do that by having manipulatives to the given to the families to encourage academic development, but embedded in hands-on fun learning experiences. Families will receive some books, board games, some outdoor manipulatives to use. They're encouraged to use what they can find in their home, and this also helps support equity for all participants that may not have technology access in their homes. We're encouraging them to talk to their families, do some storytelling, cook at home, and talk through what you're doing while you're cooking, like measuring, following steps, reading directions. Again, just going outside and doing some nature walks and finding some experiences through nature. Migrant also is going to be supporting summer school. They're also going to do some learning packets to help build relationships with families. They're going to include math and reading activities. Families will be provided information regarding other summer learning opportunities, and they'll be offered some resources available in our district and community. They'll include math and literacy, also books, family engagement activities, again, resources for them to have access to this summer. And they will actually run June 1st through July 31st. And they'll be doing, if it's approved, some porch visits, literacy packets and information, again, as allowed by social distancing. And that's all we have for KRR Summer School. Do you have any questions about the plans for KRR Summer School?
I typed how many students had been enrolled so far. And then after I did that, I realized I should probably ask those questions out loud just in case we have people only hearing. So 64 is actually quite good, it seems, already at this point. So that's exciting.
I think you're looking at last year's numbers.
No, Monica, this is Melanie. And no, I do have 64 with 2 still remaining. And there are 49 families as of right now that are enrolled.
Sorry, Monica, I typed it in the chat. That's why I thought I better ask that out loud.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, so we'll move on to Mr. Guyman and his ESY Summer School.
So this is Josh Guyman. We, just like Monica, had to make some pretty significant changes for ESY. And so I'm kind of going to go over numbers for what we typically see and then go over kind of what we're planning. So to give you a little idea, last year when we did ESY, we had 28 certified staff, 64 classified staff, and we had 217 students enrolled in 24 different classrooms. And those classrooms were split between Garfield and Garden City High School for the last couple of years. We usually have pre-K through 4th grade at Garfield, and then 5th through 12th goes to the high school and has their services there. Our original plan this year with what we had collected was to have 27 certified staff, 53 classified staff members serving 232 students in 24 classrooms again. And so obviously that has changed. And so our plan now, currently what we did, I had all of our case managers reach out to parents who, in order to qualify for ESY, that has to be part of the student's IEP. And so that's an IEP team decision. And so we had all of the case managers reach out to those families that had ESY on their IEP to see kind of what they would prefer. Option number one would be like Zoom or some kind of a virtual platform with packets going home as well to do kind of both of those pieces. Option two would be a packet only platform. And then we did have some families that just chose not to do ESY this summer, which that I think probably we have more this year than what we would typically have, but we see families every year for whatever reason decide not to do ESY depending on circumstances, even though the IEP team had decided that earlier in the year. And so our plan this year is we're going to keep our 27 certified staff members we won't have any classified staff except for we have 5 bilingual paras that are going to help us with translating when we communicate with families. We have 232 students and we broke them up into 14 groups. So basically we have 2 teachers serving each group of students, and they're going to kind of team teach that together and plan and organize that together. As of last week, when I was putting this PowerPoint together, we had 124 families that chose option number 1. We had 51 families that chose option number 2. We have 27 families that have opted out of ESY, and we had 30 that we're still waiting on. Parents and teachers have been talking, but mom wanted to talk to dad, or dad wanted to talk to mom to decide kind of what platform they wanted to use, and so we're still waiting on gathering some of that information. Other things that we're planning on doing, hopefully, we've been talking about having possibly a jump start, and so that'll be another opportunity where if we do have a jump start at the end of July, I will have some SPED staff that will be there to support our students that are on IEPs and help them there. And then also if we have some after school programs, we're going to find a lot of our kiddos, I think, because of the amount of time that they've missed, we're going to see a pretty significant lag in their skills, like we will for all kiddos. And that's the whole purpose of ESY. The IEP team looks at data, and when we see a significant loss of skills over the summer, that's the reason that ESY is recommended. And so if we do have after school programs, I think that'll be a great opportunity for us to address some of those needs for our kiddos that have the more significant needs. And I think, is that it, Monica?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the last one.
Do you all have questions for me?
I can't see everybody's screen this time, so I'm hoping people will just pop out and ask.
I'm trying to figure out how to stop my share.
Usually there's a button right towards the top that says stop share.
Well,
You did a really good job of getting it to share, Monica.
now we're just going to look at it all night, right?
Sometimes you have to leave it up there in order for that menu to pop down.
Leave the
mouse.
I can't even get where to. Oh,
There you go.
okay.
There.
I don't know how that happened, but we're gone. We've got it. So any
questions for me?
It looks like you guys have been hard at work and busy trying to figure out how to reconfigure and rethink things. So I appreciate you doing that. I know it's a challenge. And I know we're just getting excited to be done with with this school year and moving right into summer. So I appreciate your dedication and work to that. Thank you. All right. Well, if the board doesn't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and move on to, are we ready for the Autism Master Teachers? Okay.
That would be me as well, Josh Guyman. So I have a group of teachers on here who have gone through the program. It's called InStep, And Melanie Garrison completed the program last spring in 2019. And then Rebecca Kilgore, Caitlin Sotelo, and Paxton Reinbolt just finished it this spring. And so I'm going to kind of let them share a little bit about the program and what they've learned. I also have Dixie Teeter on as well. Dixie was a former speech pathologist of ours here in the district, but now works for TASN. And she did some coaching with all of these ladies. And so when we get done, if you have specific questions about the program overall, Dixie can kind of address those questions. So I'm going to let Melanie and the ladies kind of run the show here. So Mel, you're up.
Okay, can everyone see the presentation? Okay, great. So what is INSTEP? INSTEP is a program, and INSTEP stands for Integration of Strategies and Techniques for Effective Practice, and that's for educating children with autism. It's a program that was created by TASN ATBS, which is the Kansas Technical Assistance System Network for the autism and tertiary behavior supports. Their goal is to help educators across the state enhance their programs and outcomes for students with autism by providing training and on-site supports. So within the INSTEP trainings, in order to complete those, there are 6 different classes, which are should be on the left-hand side of your screen, the required training. So we go to Summer Institute, and then it's all about you, verbal behavior, the VB map, coaching 101, and social competencies. And every time you do a training, then your coaches give you an assignment kind of that you have to work on. And so that comes into your capstone, your evidence. So you typically pick a student and then you're working with that student to complete the assignments that go along with that coursework. And then from there, once you complete the INSTEP training requirements, then your assigned coach from TASN, they will recommend you for the KELK program, which is something that's new this year. And so that's just like further training that then goes on to help them within their classrooms and also help, do trainings and things like that within the state and within our region. So when we look at a breakdown of who has taken the trainings, with Summer Institute, we have 6 staff members at USD 457 that have done that program. With It's All About You, we had 19 staff members. VB MAP, we had 4 staff members do that training. Verbal behavior, we had 5 staff members. Coaching was 21, and then social competencies is 20. And so there are 3 programs that have the higher numbers. It's All About You, coaching, and social competencies. Those trainings were actually provided right in Garden City. So we were able to get a lot more of our staff through those programs to help them work with their children with special needs in their classrooms. And then we have 4 staff members that have completed the INSTEP program. Myself, Melanie Garrison, I completed in spring in 2019. And then this year, Rebecca Kilgore, Paxton Reinbolt, and Caitlin Sotelo have all completed the INSTEP program as well. Unfortunately, since I did take a new role this year as the early childhood TOSA, I didn't actually get to continue implementing it in my own classroom. But I'm fortunate enough to have Paxton Reinbolt take over my classroom. And so since she's been through all the trainings, she's able to continue that work within my classroom. And then as my role as a TOSA, I'm able to help all the early childhood teachers in the building kind of implement some of those strategies as needed with some of their more significant children.
This is Paxton Reinbolt from Garfield. Melanie, are you ready for me? Okay, awesome. So yes, getting to go to all of these programs was incredible. With each program that I got to go to, they built off one another, and I felt like my classroom just really improved after each training. So that was great. So I'm going to be talking about work systems and what they are, what the benefits are, And basically, a work system is a way to organize a task or structure a task for students to be able to know what work they're completing, what work needs to be completed in what order, what work is done, and what to do when the work is done. So typically when you hand a student a written assignment, they know that their teacher expects them to complete the assignment at their desk. They're going to go turn it in to whatever turn-in system the teacher has organized in that classroom. But for some of our students, they need a visual aid or a work system to complete that task independently and turn it in correctly. So next you're going to be watching a video of a student from my classroom, and I'll talk a little bit more about work systems and what the benefits are.
Is it playing, Paxton?
It is not.
Okay.
Well, the video is up, but it's just a black space.
Okay, on my screen, it's playing beautifully, of course. Oops.
So there might be, when you first shared your screen, at the very, very bottom of your screen, there should be two little buttons that you can say, share this video and sound. By chance, did you check those boxes?
I don't have that option on the bottom of my iPad, but I'm clicking lots of buttons, so maybe something will happen. I can copy the link, and then maybe if I go out to YouTube, or I wonder if I put it. Oops. Did it work that time?
It looks like it's loading.
Okay. This is like my biggest fear presenting virtually, is that I can't get things to open. Sorry.
I can go ahead and talk a little bit about what they'll be seeing in the video, and then if the video starts working, then
okay.
Watch. So one of the overarching themes of all of the in-step programs and trainings is cultivating student independence. And like I said, some of our students, especially in these higher need classrooms, just need a little bit of support to be able to do that. So in the video, hopefully you'll get to see it, but it's a student that is completing what's called a work system, and it looks like 4 different colored tubs placed on a table, and the student will match a visual to each tub, and she will independently get the work out of the tub and complete the task within it, and then put it in the all done basket when it's completed. Before the student was introduced to the work system, when she started on day 1 in my classroom, she had a very difficult time even staying at the table or in the area that she was supposed to, much less completing a task by herself. So implementing this strategy really just opened the ability for her to be independent. So the work system can be individualized, and in my classroom, which is an early childhood classroom, you see a tub system because we use lots of manipulatives. However, at the older grade levels, you can use file folders, binders, whatever's more appropriate for a student at a higher grade level. So it can be adapted all throughout grades and with any student, which is an awesome feature of the work system. So with the in-step program, the importance of setting up a framework of independence early was really cultivated for us. So we were told that if we're starting at the preschool level and we're building that framework early for the child to have some of those independent skills, when they get to the higher grade levels, they're going to be able to build off of those skills and focus less on what it's like to sit at a table and more of the academic skills, social skills, and additional skills that they'll need in those older grades. So some great things about the work system and the structure of a classroom in general is that it's easy to teach the students and the other team members or paraprofessionals in the room. So I can easily model what it's like to use the work system for the student, and then I can model it for the paras on how they should be teaching the student also. So the structure allows for some cohesiveness within the room, which is something I lacked in my classroom before I was able to implement work systems and other elements of structure in the room. As far as data, which is what you're looking at here, you can see that the student progresses very quickly to mastering the work system and being able to complete those work tasks independently. And as a society where we like to see things happen quickly, we can be motivated by the fact that the student's progressing quickly, and we want to keep going with the activity, and so do the students and the paraprofessionals. So we're willing to continue using the work system because it's so successful. And that's all I have on work systems.
Can I ask a quick question about this? Is there ever a time, or are you able to work with parents on some of these strategies? I know it's in a classroom setting, but it seems like it might be beneficial outside of that as well.
Absolutely. So I have worked with Dixie and other team members to create easy to use work systems at home. And so that might look like taking a basket. We got ours from Target. Target was nice enough to donate their baskets, and that was our all done basket. And once an activity is done, they know to put it there. Well, that can easily be used at home with any type of laundry basket or red basket they have at home. And then they can start using those steps as parents and students. And we like to bring the parents in to show them how we're using these things. And it's been nice through continuous learning because I'm using these skills over the video, and parents are getting to see what I'm doing. And I've gotten really great feedback about them getting to use some of the same strategies that I'm using in my classroom. So I hope to continue some of those things next year too.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, I am Caitlin Sotelo. I teach self-contained kindergarten, usually sometimes first grade, at Alta Brown Elementary. So my kiddos need more support than they could receive in a general education classroom, but they are learning a lot of academics. So I'm going to talk to you today about the VB map. So the VB map is the Verbal Behavior Milestones Assessment and Placement Program. And it is a skill tracking assessment that tracks language, learning, and social skills. And it can be used at all grade levels with our most severe students. So here on the screen, you see the scoring form on the milestones for the student that I assessed in September. Something cool that Tazin provides after we attended the VB map is we had the opportunity for a coach to come out and to help us give the assessment the first time. And I actually have given it to 2 students now, and it is very eye-opening, and it's a great tool for helping to write IEP goals or look and see where skills were missing. So this student had some very good play skills. He had some very good imitation and echoic skills, but he really struggled with manding, which is requesting, tacting, which is labeling, listener responding, which is just receptive language skills, such as responding to questions non-verbally. So this was just really eye-opening for a lot. So my kiddo, hold on, I'm so sorry. I have a 3-year-old who just woke up. Let me go give him to his dad.
They need to do those like pop-in commercials in case that happens, you know, where you can briefly pause.
I'm so sorry. His dad was outside. Okay. So the VB map is then what we used to guide a lot of our instruction. And the other data sheet that you see down on the bottom right is the graph that I filled out daily with the student to track his progress. When I first started with him on the verbal behavior program in January, he made very little progress in the month of January because we were working on a lot of the following direction skills at first. And so this is a student who didn't know how to point to things to answer a question and had very limited verbal skills. Will you go to the next slide, Melanie? So then what I did with him is a verbal behavior card sort system. So we worked on a few different programs. We did listener responding, and that is when the listener responds to another behavior. And so I would ask him, where are your shoes? And he'd need to point to his shoes. I asked him to match the teddy bear, and he would match the teddy bear to another teddy bear. I would ask him to point to his mom, and he would point to his mom, a picture of his mom. We also worked on tacting, which is expressive labeling. And so I would ask him, what is it? And he would label the item. Then we worked on imitation skills. And so I'd tell him little things like, do this, and he'd need to copy what I was doing with some gross motor imitation. We also worked on an echoic program, which was repeating sounds or words. And then with him, I hadn't started an intraverbal program yet because he wasn't quite ready for that. But an intraverbal program would be using fill in the blanks and answering questions. So at the lower level, an intraverbal could be twinkle, twinkle, little, and he would need to fill in the blank of star, all the way up to answering questions. So all of these skills are skills that typical children pick up through everyday lessons and learning. But the kiddos that I have in my classroom can use a lot more direct instruction and repetition, and this gives them exactly that. And it does a great job of collecting the data in an organized way so that we can see exactly what he knows as well. Are there any questions?
I'm Rebecca Kilgore, I teach at Charles Stone's Intermediate Center. And I have the severe needs. So not just, I have autism. The children that are a little lower functioning are in my classroom. We do a lot of life skills. And when I went to the social competency training this year, it was a real eye-opener because I realized that my kids needed 100% prompting, verbal prompting to say hi to people. So when we were walking down the hallway, someone would say hi, and I'd say, oh, say hi. So they weren't independent, and I wanted them to be independently saying hi to people. So I started doing a 15-minute lesson every day. We were watching videos. These are 3 videos I found on YouTube. My kids really liked them. And then I also started using a hi card in my name tag. And we would have the hi card. I'd hand out hi cards so that they understood that that card said hi, and that whenever they saw that card, they needed to say it was the time to say hi. So it was a great thing for the kids. If you want to go to the next slide. So it was wonderful because I started taking data, and the child that I took data on, he'd never said hi to the lunchroom staff because I took a 15-minute period of time to take data going from the classroom and into the lunchroom. And the lunchroom staff always tried to get my kids to say hi, but they wouldn't. So I started using my name tag. So I would get in the lunchroom and I'd hold my name tag up, and the lunchroom people would say hi. And then my kids said hi as soon as they saw my name tag. And so we did this. The data goes up and down because it's a yes or no. So when you see the higher lines, those are when the child did it. And when there was a break, he would forget. But towards the end of the year, right before spring break, the lunchroom staff would say hi. And if any of my children didn't say hi back, they would point to their name tag, and that my kids responded hi back. And there was really no verbal prompt. They were, doing it pretty much independently, except for that pointing to the name tag. So I was very, very excited. My kids were becoming more social, and when they went to PE, it was just amazing. And so we're going to take this training, and the speech therapist and I are going to work on this coming year, social skills, to use their speech and language skills in a social setting throughout the school. So I'm really excited about that this coming year for my kids. It's just, TASN has been amazing with the trainings, because every training I come back, my kids do wonderful with them. I bring the information that they give me, and I do it with my kids, and it works wonders. I have kids that are talking so much more because of the verbal behavior, because of the social skills. And I can't say enough wonderful things about the training and about TASN, and what an awesome coach we have with Dixie. So do you guys have any questions?
How has it been trying to do this virtually? Incorporate some of these. I mean, Paxton mentioned that she had some pluses working with parents. How about you, Rebecca or Caitlin?
For me, I do my verbal behavior cards. This is my setup. My kids all have a thing, and I pull out their cards, and we do all their cards. And my parents are amazed at what they can do, how much more they're talking. I have kids on communication devices, and they get to see what they can do at school. And it goes both ways, because I get to see what they do at home. So it's a learning experience both ways. I have really good communication with my parents. I love each of my parents. They're awesome.
I would second Rebecca on that as well. Although continuous learnings has definitely had its downsides, I would say a major positive is being able to have that time with parents. For the I Zoom with my kids twice a day as a class, and for the most part, their parents sit with them and are learning with them, and it's fun to have their parents see the kids' aha moments, and to watch the parents. I had a parent tell me today, did you see that? I didn't tell him the answer. He knew it. He said it all by himself. She goes, you didn't hear him. And I was like, I know, and a lot of our kids, take so much repetition and time and practice just to get it, that I think in the beginning, the parents were a little bit frustrated and just not understanding why their children weren't able to do it. And I kept telling them, give it time, like it's going to come. I said, it's not going to come today, and it's not going to come tomorrow, but eventually they're going to get it. And today, one of my students had one of his aha moments, and his grandma was sitting with him, and she goes, did you see that? He did it. And I said, I know, I told you it was going to come. I was like, it takes time. And so it's fun for the parents. It's been fun for me to work with the parents on these skills, and just teach the parents the things that we do day to day in the classroom. The student that I'm doing the verbal behavior program with uses a device for communication. And I was having a meeting with his parents over Zoom, and in the background, I could hear him requesting a snack on the device. So that was super cool to hear, because this is a kiddo who didn't request anything ever at the beginning of the school year, never. If he wanted something, he went and got it himself. And so it was really cool just to see that he was now engaging and interacting with his parents instead of just helping himself.
That's really neat. Thank you. That sounds pretty amazing. I think that parent piece is just so important, and that's really neat that you've been able to do that even more so now. You know, where some things you feel like it went the other way, so there's definitely some benefits. So that's great. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just have a comment. This is Janine. I really appreciate you guys sharing those the successes and the examples that you're seeing, especially with this program. It sounds really amazing. And all of the work that you guys have done to get to this point. I love hearing those success stories with the kids and building those skills that they have. So thank you very much for sharing those with us.
And I would point out too that one of the greatest things about this training is the cost of it, because it's, with the exception of the travel, it's all free. TASM does this all free for us, and so we just have to pay to get the teachers there, and so that's even better. And now, you know, now that Dixie's right here in the area, she's able to just pop in and serve as that coach and support that, give those teachers the support that they need to kind of take it to the next level. So, and we do have one other teacher who's, she was scheduled to be done with the program this spring, but she had some medical issues. And so she'll be done next year. So we'll have one more teacher that'll be completed through the program as well. So that's exciting. And the exciting thing for me is to bring that knowledge back to the district and be able to disseminate that through the rest of our staff and get some of those supports together, I think is really huge for us and is going to pay dividends for us as we move forward.
I'd also like to say too that now that we have that connection with TAS and it's ongoing, and they were the first ones to reach out to me, even while the district was trying to figure out a plan with continuous learning, saying, okay, depending on what your district says, here are some of the options that we think are going to be great for these high level, high needs learners. And it was an amazing, it felt great to have someone that was reaching out to me that I didn't have to reach out to, that had our backs. And that's going to continue for as long as I'm with the district and TASN is with us. So.
I know in the past, maybe past board meetings, we've talked about the numbers of, and I'll just use the term that you use, the high need learners, that those numbers had continued to increase. Do we have maybe a general idea about what percentage of our student population are considered high need learners?
I don't know that I could give you a percentage, but we could probably give you some numbers. Paxton, what do you have in your class this year? What's your enrollment?
I have 15 as of now.
So we have 15 at the pre-K level, and how many are going on to Savannah's room next year?
3 of them will go to Savannah's room and 4 will go to either Caitlin or Kim Morgan's room.
Okay, so, and then between Savannah and Amanda at the Rise rooms there at VO, I believe we have 17 enrolled in that classroom, in those 2 classrooms combined, and only 1 that will be going on to the next level. What do you have, Rebecca, in your room?
I have 8 this year, and 2 will be moving up.
Okay, and then I know Mr. Nichols at the high school, I believe he has 7 or 8, and he had 2 that are going to graduate this year, and then obviously those 2 going up. So that kind of gives you an idea of our functional classrooms. And then obviously Caitlin's classroom is not as intense as what Paxton and Rebecca's room would be, but it would be just a step below. And so we have quite a few. We have 2 self-contained kindergarten classrooms, 2 first and second grade self-contained classrooms, and then 2 third and fourth grade self-contained classrooms, and then 1 at Florence Wilson that's a K4 self-contained classroom. So the numbers they're up there. I mean, they're pretty high, I think. And they definitely go in spurts. I mean, I think you're seeing Rebecca's caseload is shrinking a little bit now, but Paxton's caseload is higher than in the 6 years I was at Garfield. I don't think we ever had 15. Did we, Mel, when we were at Garfield? I mean, that I want to say it was
that's
like
usually where we would average
well,
out.
I guess, yeah, because it would be 8 and 8. Yeah, that'd be about right. I was thinking morning and afternoon. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be about right. So I don't know if that answers your question, Dana, completely, but that kind of gives you an idea of the number of kiddos that we have.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you, Josh. Thanks. Is there any other questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but can I just say that I'm super thankful to have this collaboration between Tasman and the district. We have some exciting things happening and coming forward, and we just like to, really appreciate that. Obviously, you can see the rigorous amount of work that it takes the teachers to get it done. It's not just a one and done type of PDC. It's continued collaboration throughout the year. It's coaching, and Tasman really has our mantra, I guess you could say, is we don't want to just provide free training. We want to provide training that's going to make a difference for kids. And what does that outcome look like? And so that's why, with the support of your teachers, we're able to send back the great data, about the outcomes that they get. We're able to share that with the State Department, and they're super happy with what's going on. And again, you know how all that works. Student good outcome equals funding, so we can continue to provide these trainings for your teachers. And we would never be able to do that without training, with your teachers not providing, that information. So we're just super thankful, and I'm so lucky because, as you can tell, these teachers are amazing, and it's not hard to coach teachers who are willing to put in a lot of extra time and effort and to go the extra mile for kids. And it's very evident in their programs, and you can see each one has taken back something different from each of the trainings, and it's so awesome to see. And I know Kevin is super proud of you guys, and I can't wait to share with my group what we did tonight at the board. So I appreciate it.
And I would kind of echo what Dixie said. I think one of the biggest things is the training takes a lot of time, and that's a lot of work just to complete the training. But the amount of work once you get done with the training that these ladies have to put into to prepare and to plan is crazy. I mean, when we were at Garfield together, I can remember Mel would be at the school almost every Sunday afternoon getting things ready and getting things lined out. It's not something that you can just go in and do. It's a lot of planning and a lot of organizing and a lot of collaborating with the classified staff in your room. And I think the classified staff are key to the success of that too, because they have to be able to model and implement a lot of those strategies as well. So I'll quit talking now. Sorry. I'm just really proud of these ladies. They've done a really good job.
It's really obvious to me that you all have a passion for what you do, and I really appreciate that. I can only imagine the amount of work, the extra work, the cutting, when you talk about using cards, and I saw your displays. I'm sure that is incredibly time consuming, and you don't think about all those little small tasks that go into those things that are not just the one-on-one interaction with kids. It's all the other things, that go along with that. So thank you so much for the extra work that you do and the dedication and passion that you have for your students. It's really obvious, and it's really awesome, I guess, for lack of a better word, to be able to see that as a board member. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? I got to click over the arrow because I can't see Alex. Okay, we're good. All right, well, thanks, guys. We'll go ahead and move on to new business. And we will consider ratification of the 2020-2021 negotiated agreement.
All right, well, I'll kind of give you an update on that. We gave you a copy of the tentative agreement previously, but I did want to touch on one of the more significant pieces, and that has to do with compensation. It is a little convoluted this year, to say the least. But the backstory on that is we had already begun negotiations and had laid a compensation plan out on the table when there started to be some discussions about possible budget reductions for next year. So we had to come up with a way to try and continue to do what we wanted to do, which was take care of our first budget priority, which is taking care of district staff, but also protecting the district in case there was a shortfall in the budget. So we kind of put in a tiered approach. And so basically, all certified staff under this agreement would start at a 2% average increase.
And then when we know more about what that budget looks like for next year, depending on what our shortfall is or isn't, that 2% will turn into either 3% or 4%, depending on kind of where that budget shortfall ends up being. So hopefully we will be able to still honor that 4% that we originally wanted to give. But of course, it will be dependent upon things that are out of our control. So that's kind of why that one got a little messy, but some backstory on why we wanted to do that. The teachers took that tentative agreement to a vote, and we closed that vote at noon today. We did have a quorum. We had about 65% of the voting members actually participate in the vote, and they ratified the agreement with a vote of 304 yeses to 77 no votes. So that's why the tentative agreement is on the agenda tonight for the board to take action and vote. But before you do that, I do want to just kind of take an opportunity to thank all members of the team, teachers and the board. It was a crazy, very strange negotiation process this year, but we definitely worked as a team and were able to get that figured out. So definitely appreciate specifically Laura and Janine, your leadership as we move through this process. So that is greatly appreciated. Heath, Laura, Janine, Dr. Carlin, do you have any other comments about the tentative agreement?
This is Laura. If I could, I just want to echo, I thought we had some really great teamwork this year in trying to work through the issues that were brought by both sides and ideas coming from both sides. We had a lot of lively discussion, I think, on some of those things, and it was great to hear all of that discussion. And I think the resolutions that we came up with allow for some flexibility with regard to everything, not just the pay with the tiered way that we're having to do it based off of how much money we lose, but you know, letting us be able to use some of those new ideas that we've been able to come up with this last quarter as well, and trying to help with communication and things like that. I'm really glad that we're still able to fulfill one of our 3 priorities with this also, you know, investing in our staff. We're not going to be able to hit probably the other 2 priorities that this board has put forth with, you know, adding new programs or giving any type of property tax relief at this point, but at least we're able to fulfill that one. And I'm also really glad that we're able to get this done before the end of the school year to give teachers and the other staff a sense of security as to what's going to happen next year, especially in these very uncertain times. So I'm really happy that we were able to get all of that accomplished, and even not knowing how much we're going to lose from the state, still being able to give a raise, I think is a really good thing in this contract.
Thanks, Laura. Is there any other questions, comments from the board?
This is Janine. I would just echo what Laura said. I felt like there were a lot of really creative things that were put on the table to discuss, and some ideas that were kind of out of the box thinking, so to speak. But it very much was looking at what was going to be the best that we could do to make sure that we could take care of our teachers and our staff. So I think there is a lot of flexibility with some things, and I think it's, you know, we would always like to be able to do more, but with the budget the way it is right now, I think that the 2% and then going up, like KJ was expressing a little bit ago, I think is a really good option to be able to do that, and hopefully we can hit that 4%.
This is Heath. The last thing that I will add is just the time that was spent. A lot of times in negotiations, there's issues that are sometimes personal and sometimes touchy. And I felt like we had a really great team that were able to put some of those feelings aside and just deal with issues. Everybody was able to have open mind. Everybody listened to each other's comments in order to try to, again, solve a problem or make a problem better, ultimately was our goal. And I'm very appreciative of all the teamwork that took place during those meetings, especially doing it when sometimes we didn't have personal contact. We did it, such as this board meeting, all via technology. So I'm really proud of the work that went into getting this hopefully ratified.
Madam President, this is Steve. Just want to highlight a couple of the comments that were made already. I think this is the first time in a number of years that we will have a contract in place before the summer, before teachers are finished and have their summer break. And that, I think, normally that's nice to have, but as Laura mentioned, in these uncertain times, I think that is even a bigger advantage this year. So really, hats off to the team for their efforts to make that happen. And then, lastly, I really hope our teachers see how this demonstrates the commitment that the district and the board have to having quality teachers in our district. It's, you know, it is our top priority, and it's been something we've been able to pay some attention to, but I think this year it really demonstrates that really is a high priority. So thanks to everybody for all their work on it.
Thanks, Steve, and thanks everybody for your comments and for your work on this. Just piggybacking on what everybody else has already commented on. With that, I think we can go ahead and move forward with a vote. Do you want to make that motion, Laura?
Sure. Madam President, I move that we approve the 2021 contract as presented.
Can I get a second, please?
This is Janine. I'll second it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Laura,
Aye.
Dana,
Aye.
Janine,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Alex,
Aye.
Okay. Well, it can go forward from here, and we are now ready for board open discussion. Laura, do you want to start us off?
Sure. The only thing that I think that I was going to mention is that the Chamber of Commerce is taking nominations for the Crystal Apple Award. So if anyone knows of any incredible teachers, and I know we've got a lot in our district, and I think the last couple of years we've swept as well. So please nominate. I heard there's hasn't been as many nominations as in the past, so they've extended the deadline until June 15th. So please nominate your teachers if you get the chance. I think you can do that online on the Chamber website as well. Or send something into the Chamber and let them know who you would like to have nominated. Right now, it's still planned for November 19th, so we'll see if that happens, but please consider nominating someone.
Thanks, Laura. Can I get you to go next, Janine?
Sure. One of the things that when serving on the negotiations committee, I really appreciated being able to be part of that process. It was really interesting to see how everything goes and how everybody really worked together. So I appreciate having that opportunity. And just on a personal note, I'm no longer working at the Chamber. I'm now working at Service Masters. So my schedule changes just a little bit and just a little bit different experience. So that's all I have.
Alex?
I don't have anything tonight except that I really appreciate the discussion tonight and all the presentations. It was kind of eye-opening on the the autism spectrum, especially dealing with a kid that has some Asperger-like symptoms. So it's really neat to see how, especially with the Zoom, how you're able to interact with those children and kids and make it better. So thank you.
Mark?
There you go. Now I got it off. I want to echo what Alex said. Very interesting. I can't imagine trying to work with that group of students and have 2 Zooms a day. There's a lot of classroom management involved there with the parents, and it's just amazing to me how that team rises to the occasion and works closely with those parents. The whole situation of doing so much teaching by Zoom and other ways of communicating has been very interesting to watch. And just kudos to all the teachers and staff working through that, and the seniors having a senior year like this year, and the community response that I've seen on social media for supporting and adopting high school seniors, and all of that activity has just been really fun to watch. Really makes me inspired to continue to dedicate some time to the board and to all this work of the community. But other than that, I really don't have anything.
Steve?
So tonight we had a couple of presentations on, or a presentation on summer programs. That looked a little different than what we thought it would when we started the school year, certainly. So kudos to the people that were involved. I think that's reiterating a comment that was made earlier in the planning and the preparation for those programs. Part of that comes out of some communication that we've had with the health department. We've had a couple of meetings with them, and understanding that Finney County is not quite in the same place as the rest of the state in terms of the progression of this. I think if I understand correctly, we're maybe second of all the counties in Kansas in the number of cases diagnosed. So the preliminary information we have from them is their recommendation would be that we not have students back in groups in our buildings until no earlier than the 15th of June. So again, kudos to our people for reacting and planning these experiences, even though we'd all love to be back to normal and face-to-face with kids. The timing just at this point has not been our friend there, been right for that. And kind of related, I imagine our KRR folks have all jumped off, but we applied for a number of different grants to continue the KRR program next year. The good news is I don't think we've heard no on any of them, but the bad news is we haven't heard yes either. As a matter of fact, I think we had one of them that we were supposed to hear on the 15th of May, and we got a notice late on Friday that would be delayed until I think 2 weeks later, if I remember right. So we are still looking for ways to continue to be able to support that program going forward, but and as of right now, we don't have a whole lot more information, but just to kind of update everybody on that. So, and then lastly, we are continuing to monitor numbers. We do have teachers that are starting to come back into the buildings to check out and clean out their classrooms, and we appreciate the fact that we're asking them to do that pretty quickly. We're scheduling them pretty rapidly through the buildings to do that, and we also have put into place some protocols to ensure the safety, keeping them in small numbers, doing temperature checks, requiring masks, that kind of stuff, in an effort to keep everybody safe. So appreciate everybody that's our principals that have been working on that, people here at the central office, and all we're doing now to keep students and staff safe. So that's it for me.
Well, just as the end of the school year winds down, and I know everybody's getting excited and ready for it to be done, or at least in the Nanaga household and other people I see scrolling through Facebook, right? They can't wait to be done. And it's just hard not to be in awe of what everybody has pulled together. So, you know, we still get presentations like tonight where we see just the amazing work of our students, of our teachers, excuse me, that have just risen to the challenge. And I know there's parents out there that have risen to the challenge. And I just appreciate you all so very much. And the leadership has been incredible. I know I've asked Steve several times about decision fatigue because the small decisions that I have to make overwhelm me, and it's just an up and down thing on a regular basis. So I just appreciate you all so very, very much, and the board members as well. So Janine was brand new and was willing to jump on the negotiations committee, and everybody is just willing to do their part. So it's much appreciated. I'm super bummed out because I forgot I was going to put my 457 strong t-shirt on specifically for the board meeting, and my brain just completely forgot. But that is how I feel. I feel like we've shown some real strength and unification, just a unified front, and just trying to do what's best for our kids. And that's just really, you know, it's just a really good thing to be a part of, a really neat thing to be a part of. And like Mark said, the community, I mean, just everybody. So yeah, ooh, emotion. Just appreciate everybody. So with that, the next board meeting will take place on Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m. in the board meeting room. Due to social distancing requirements, the public will not be allowed in the board meeting room, and the meeting will be streamed live for public viewing on the district YouTube page, www.youtube.com/USD457. So I think, Laura, can we do a motion?
I think so. I think we got everything. Madam President, I move that we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second? I saw Mark voice second, but
I seconded.
thanks, Mark. All right, all in favor? Do we need to do a, can we just do it all together? Stephanie, do you want to do a roll call?
I think you can do it all together.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks,
Take
everyone.
Have
care.
a good evening.